the way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is big and wide, if the ground is black and yellow. Come get this good, good love I provide you. You first and me. I wanna give you plenty, 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 plenty. Shanty, I'm gonna get you there eventually. Trust me, I'm gonna make you say you love me before you love me. My hand, slide through. Come get this good, good love I provide you. I wanna give you plenty. I wanna have you in Bentley. Trending, yeah, you're trendy. Staring at pictures you send me. Trying to move past friendly. Trying to.
Crochet a super solid granny square. This pattern is perfect for baby blankets and cozy cardigans.
Do you guys want to see what 26 rows in a granny square looks like? Let me show you. This is insane. What's more insane is the fact that I made this. Like, by made, I mean like I crocheted it, but the pattern is not mine. This is 26 rows. This is the back. And it's not even finished. Like, I still have one more row to go. A lot of the rows you can't even see from the front because they're in the back. I didn't even think I could make it, so I just used random colors. But now that I know I can make it, I'm gonna choose the right colors and go in and make a bunch of them and make a blanket.
It's the first tutorial of the year, and this is just a variation on a granny square. So if you know how to make a granny square, you can make this even if you're a beginner. And it came out so cute, and I just need to know what y'all think I should make with this, because this is so beautiful. The hardest part about this granny square is getting the tension right. So this was the first time I did it. As you can see, the sides are kind of curving in a little bit. The tension was all over the place, and this is after blocking. This one I haven't even blocked yet, and I feel like it looks perfect. Oh my gosh, y'all just need to let me know like what I should make out of this. Maybe a purse. I was thinking maybe like a 3 granny square purse. But I'm also really excited to see everybody else's like variations on an ombre. I think this would look super cool. What I was thinking in my mind, this is what I have, and I really, really want somebody to do this, is basically like an ombre in the middle and then black on the outside. So maybe like a yellow, orange, I don't know. I've seen these before, I swear to God. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Please somebody do it. Anyway, this tutorial is up and I think it came out really good. So if y'all want to check that out, it's on my...
If you saw the Valentine's Day sweater that I'm making right now and you want to know how to make these cute little squares, here's a quick tutorial with the pattern included. If you want to pause and screenshot the pattern, here she is, but we're going to go ahead and start with 30 chains. We want to end up having 29 stitches all the way across, so once you've finished your 30 chains, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from hook and then all the way till the end of the row. To move on to the next row, we're going to chain 1, which counts as the first little block in our grid, and then just single crochet as normal for the rest of the row. We've now done our chains and 2 rows of single crochets, and we're ready to move on to our first row of popcorn stitches. Go ahead and do your normal chain 1 to turn, a single crochet in the next stitch, and then in the third stitch, we're going to do our first popcorn. I like to think of this stitch as doing a double crochet, but before you pull through the last 2 loops on the hook, you're just going to continue the process until you have 6 total loops on your hook. Once you've counted all 6, you're going to yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook, and then go ahead and chain 1 to seal your whole little popcorn together. This row continues with 3 single crochets, 1 popcorn stitch, 3 single crochets, and so forth till the end of the row with 2 single crochets at the very end. Chain 1 to turn, and the next row is going to be all single crochet, but when you're going back over your popcorn stitches, make sure you only go into the stitch and not the chain space, or else you'll start adding more stitches than you started with. Continue on like this, referencing the pattern, remembering each black square is a popcorn stitch and each white square is a single crochet. I hope this was helpful, but if anything still doesn't make sense, feel free to comment and I will be happy to help clarify.
This is how I connect my granny squares when I've finished making all of them for a project. So I'll flip them over so the wrong side is facing up toward me, and I'll have the right side kiss each other like so. And then I'll just line up my stitches so that they're all directly across from each other. And I'm going to use green yarn, but typically you would use the same color as your project. I'm just showing the green so you can see how well it hides in the granny square. So I'll go through the back loop of one square and into the back loop of the stitch directly across from it on the other square here. And then I'll just go back and do the same thing. So back loop, over the front loop, into the back loop of the other square. You can see the front loops are touching each other when I line them up of each square, and the back loops are the ones furthest away from each other. So into the back loop, over the two front loops, into the back loop again. And I just do that all the way up and down. And if I'm doing like a larger project with many squares, I'll do all of the rows first, then all of the columns, and I'll go all the way up. And I'll just repeat this process until I have finished the whole length of the squares there that I'm doing. And this is the point where you would kind of cut that top part and weave it back into itself. But you can see on the front of our project, when the right sides are facing up, it just creates this valley with the front loops, which I personally like because it gives each square its kind of own defined lines, and the yarn is hidden within them. And if you bend it back, you can see how well the yarn is hidden within the square. And that is the back loop only mattress stitch, and it is an invisible stitch.
How I got my granny square skirt from this to this. The first thing you're going to need is elastic. I got this from Shein for like £1. I then tied the elastic around one of my stitches so it wouldn't unravel. I did it like 4 times. And then I slip stitch into each opening. It's really simple, guys. Literally anybody could do it. The whole process took like 5 minutes. Then I tied it up a couple of times around itself so it wouldn't unravel. Do you see the stretchiness? And just like that, your skirt is secured.
tutorial for this crochet sweater. I really like it. I like the way it comes out. The arms are cute. So I'll show you guys all the steps. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to help. But anyway, let me show you. So first you need 4 big granny squares. The way to know how big to make it is to keep doing rows until corner to corner goes shoulder to shoulder. Once you have that, then you just make 4 of those that size. So now let's say that you have 4 of them, right? 2 of them are going to stay just like this, flat, just like this. And then the other 2, you're going to fold them in half, right? And then you're going to take a needle or a crochet hook, whatever you prefer. I usually just use a needle and thread because it's faster. You're just gonna sew right down there, right? Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip it over. So now pretend it's sewn. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna sew it to the arm like that. You almost can't tell, but it's this underneath part right here. As far as the shoulders go, you can just sew as many as you want depending on how you want the neck to look. I sewed 2 stitches together on either side. So right there and right there, because I wanted it to be like an off the shoulder thing. So the 2 flat pieces together, you would do 2 notches here, 2 notches here, or however many you want to do depending on how tight you want the neckline to be. when you start to sew it all together, you're going to sew it all together inside out. That way any stitch marks that you do or anything like that will just be left on the inside. Now you can lay it down. You can take the sewn arm. You're going to sew it all the way around. You're going to do that on both sides, right? Then you're going to sew the bottom part together. And then when you're all done, you can bring it back. And it will look something like this.
I'm going to show you how to work an invisible mattress stitch to seamlessly connect your granny squares. First, we need to make sure our yarn is securely fastened. We do this by working our yarn beneath the back loop only of our corner stitch, moving from the front of the granny square to the back. We then repeat this in the next stitch along, however this time we're working from the back of the square to the front, still pulling the yarn through beneath that back loop only. We then repeat this exact same movement into the same 2 stitches. This is to hold the end of the yarn in place as you work the rest of your mattress stitch. What we've done here is essentially work a mattress stitch twice into the same space. Now taking our other granny square, we're going to work our yarn beneath the back loop only of this corner stitch, again moving from the front of the granny square to the back. Then we're going to repeat this in the next stitch along, again we're working from the back of the square to the front, still pulling the yarn through beneath that back loop only. What differentiates the mattress stitch from a ladder stitch is that when you work back into the first granny square, you'll be working into the stitch you previously came out of. Here you can see I'm working back into the last stitch that I worked out of on the blue granny square. Again, working the yarn beneath the back loop only and from the front of the square to the back, and then onto the next stitch, working from the back of the square to the front underneath the back loop only. You then repeat this pattern moving back and forth between your 2 granny squares. Once you've worked a couple of stitches, you can then pull the tail, and this is the most fun part of a mattress stitch. Your piece will zip closed, and because you're working into the back loops only, the seam will be invisible. Make sure you pull this taut every 6 stitches or so as it keeps everything neat.
The biggest mistake I used to make when finishing granny squares or any crochet pieces was closing them like this. Let me show you a much clean and seamless way to do it. Insert your hook into the last stitch of your project, cut the yarn and pull it all the way through the other side. Now find the first stitch where we'll make the join. You'll see the usual V shape at the top of the stitch. Insert your hook under both loops of that V from the opposite direction that you will normally use. Grab the tail of the yarn you cut and with your hook gently pull it through to the back of the work. Then, to complete the invisible join, turn your work and insert the needle through the back loop of the last stitch you made, passing it through the center of the stitch head. Pull the yarn through one last time, then make a small knot to secure it and waving the end neatly. And that's it, a simple change that makes your work look way more professional with a smooth invisible join. Save this tip for the next time you want a perfect finish to your crochet pieces.
Want to make a granny square without weaving in any ends?
make with granny squares. You can make a mini skirt, a vest, a dress like this that's nice and short. But if you add in a couple of hours more of sweat, you can make it a maxi dress like this. You can make an afghan, which is just a blanket made out of granny squares. In order to do it, you literally just have to attach all of these, and this takes time and effort. It's probably the least fun part of crocheting. The weaving in process is just boring. But you would have something so beautiful like this as your end result. You also don't need to make the typical granny stitch. You can add in other elements like felt and sewing, buttons, to something that's already just a box. You could make a granny square headband. This is probably the easiest crochet project because you only have to make 3 to 4 squares at most. You could make a baklava. You could make book sleeves like these or like this. You could make it a tube top, and you don't even have to have that lace up in the front if you don't want it. That could be the back, or you don't even have to have that at all. You could make a messenger bag like this. Again, this doesn't show you that it's 2 granny squares, but it is just 2 granny squares, and then the rest of the panels are just regular crochet. Lola Tongue from The Summer I Turned Pretty made something or wore something exactly like this. You could make a tote bag. You could make pants, and these would probably be so comfortable and perfect for when you go to the beach because they'll keep you warm without making you sweat. So this is like a good beach after like 5 o'clock pant. Here's another example of a little bag that you could make. And you can even make less panels and make it a smaller bag. It just depends on how comfortable you are and how much time you have to devote. You also don't need to make multiple granny squares. You could do something like this where they took this one granny square of the flower and then they just expanded each row with another color, but they didn't do another granny square. They're just working from the inside to the outside to make this vest. Versus this person just did bunches of different patterns and then combined them all together.
Hi guys, okay, so this is finally a tutorial for how to do the Violet's Granny Square by Yeezy. Basically, it's a very simple pattern. It's 5 rows, and you're going to want to pick 4 colors, having the color of your 2nd and 5th row be the same. So for mine, my 2nd and 5th row are going to be in white. And I basically worked a normal granny square up until I got to the middle space. What I'm going to do now is basically just chain 1 and then start working into that middle space to create the variation. You're going to do 1 double crochet into that center space, and then you're just going to yarn over twice the way you would for a normal treble crochet, but then you're going to go back into row 2 and find that stitch and take the entire post, go from behind the post, grab that double crochet, pull your yarn through, and just do your treble crochet as normal. Then you're going to work another back post crochet, going back to the stitch behind it in row 2. If that makes sense, as you can see, I'll point to it. It's that double crochet right there. Grab it behind, grab the entire post, pull your yarn through, and then work another treble crochet. Once you finish those 2 back post treble crochets, they should cross and they should look like this. And then you're just going to double crochet again into that chain 1 space and chain 1, and then you're just going to work the rest of your granny square as normal until you get to the next middle space. And you're just going to want to repeat this in every single center chain 1 space until you have 4 of these crossing back post treble crochets. I really hope this helps, and comment your questions if you have any.
I made all of these granny squares last night, so I'm gonna show you my insane system of how I make granny squares really fast. Also, I'm crazy, and all of my granny squares in a project, unless it's like supposed to be that way, I want every square to be different. So every square here is using the same 5 colors, but they're all in different orders. First of all, I used to make my granny squares like all at once, do the first round, the second round, the third round, and I would be happy with the granny square, and then I would put it in the collection. I found that making them 1 round all at a time, so say you have to make 20 granny squares, if you do 20 first rounds and then keep going from there, it's so much faster. So say that you're making 20 granny squares and you're using 5 colors, which is how many I used. So you're going to divide that by 5. Obviously that equals 4. 4 is going to be the number of each color you use. So I'm using these circles here to represent the first round, so just the inner circle here of your granny square. So you're going to make 4 of each of the 5 colors. Do this one color at a time. So you make 4 of the dark blue, 4 of the light blue, and then do the rest. Then when you go in with the second round, think of it as like, okay, I'm going to pick up the dark blue again. That's my first color. And I'm going to go around each of the other colors with the dark blue. So you do round 2 of blue with all the colors that obviously aren't the same color. And then you do the greens, the light blues, the green. And then obviously there's still the lavender that needs to be around the other 4. So those are going to go right here. And then according to that second round, group them together. So the dark greens will all go together, put all the lavenders together. So like this. And then going on from this point, you can attach the color just so long as that color has not been there before. And you're gonna do one color. So if I'm doing the blue around this green, I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna do another repeat of that. So I'm not gonna attach this blue here, but I can put it, say, here. And then for the dark green, I'll put it here. And then for the lavender, I will do around here. Then you're just going to keep doing this and eyeball it. Make sure you're not putting the same color schemes together too much, because you are going to be not using one color for each of the squares, since I did 4 rounds and there's 5 colors. So you just have to make sure that you're distributing it evenly. Here's what a third round would look like. And then you'll group them together by their outside colors and then continue on. I'm fully aware that this is insane and normal people wouldn't do this, but nothing irks me more than seeing a final project and noticing duplicate granny squares, because granny squares are like snowflakes and they shouldn't be the same. Okay, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Bye.
Esta camisa se teje haciendo un hexágono de grannies, del que salen las principales piezas, la manga, el delantero, el trasero de la camisa de una sola vez. Estoy usando Cartopu Baby One y un ganchillo del número 4. Voy a comenzar haciendo un nudo corredizo, puedes usar la técnica que más te guste para este paso. Vamos a comenzar el hexágono de grannies tejiendo 4 cadenitas en el aire. Aquí están. Para que se vea mejor en el video por donde vamos a trabajar, yo voy a poner un marcador de puntadas entre estas 4 cadenitas. Ahora voy a introducir mi ganchillo por la primera cadenita en la patita trasera. Tomo mi estambre de trabajo y lo atravieso por todos los aritos que me quedaron en mi ganchillo. Esto se llama puntada de desliz y sirve para cerrar nuestro tejido, así se nos forma un arito, que es este por el cual estaremos trabajando. Para la ronda 1 vamos a dar una cadenita de altura. Recuerda que esta no cuenta como nada, solamente nos va a dar la primera puntada. Cargamos nuestro ganchillo, lo introducimos en el aro, sacamos 3 aritos. Cargamos nuestro ganchillo una vez más, atravesamos los primeros 2 aritos y nos quedan 2 en el ganchillo. Cargamos y atravesamos los últimos 2. Así se formó nuestro primer punto alto. Le voy a poner un marcador de puntadas a la primera cadenita. Cada granny o conchita está formado por 3 puntos altos, así que voy a hacer 2 más para completarlo. Entonces tejemos el segundo punto alto, el tercer punto alto y tenemos nuestra puntada de granny. Ahora, como vamos a hacer un hexágono, necesitamos 6 grannies en total. Voy a separar cada uno de ellos con 2 cadenitas y estas 2 cadenitas representan una esquina. Ya que tengo mis 2 cadenitas de separación, cargo mi ganchillo y comienzo a hacer mi primer punto alto. Recuerda, necesito 3 puntos altos juntos para hacer mi siguiente granny. Entonces tejo el primer punto alto, el segundo y el tercero. Aquí está mi granny y si te fijas, las 2 cadenitas de separación me formaron la primera esquina. Vamos a tejer 2 cadenitas de separación para el siguiente granny y así hasta que tengamos 6. Ya que tengo los 6, voy a dar las últimas 2 cadenitas de separación. Introduzco mi ganchillo en la primera cadenita, aquí en donde está mi marcador de puntadas. Tomo mi estambre de trabajo y lo atravieso por todos los aritos. Y así es como terminé mi hexágono. Esta es la primera parte para la camisa. Cuéntame en los comentarios si vamos a tejer juntos para que te suba la parte 2.
You guys won't stop asking for a tutorial for my skull sweater, so let's make the granny squares. I used a size 4mm crochet hook for my sweater, but you can use anything. Start with a magic ring. There's some other videos on my page on how to do this, but let me know if you need any help. Then we're going to chain 2 and put 9 double crochet into the center circle. Now chain 5 and put another double crochet into the center. Chain 3 and put another double crochet into the center. At this point I like to tighten my circle. I think it just makes it a little bit easier to work the rest of the round. Then chain 5 again and slip stitch into the very first double crochet from the round. Chain 1 and single crochet all the way across the top of the head. In the chain 5 space, or his little eye socket, we're going to put 6 single crochets. In the chain 3 space, or his little nose, we're going to put a slip stitch, then we're going to chain 2, put 2 double crochets, chain 2 again, and slip stitch back into the chain 3 space. Now put 6 double crochets into the next chain 5 space and slip stitch to the first single crochet. Fasten off and we're ready to move on to the square part. We're starting with a standing double crochet going into the next stitch from where you fastened off. Then chain 3 and put 2 double crochet back into the exact same stitch. This is going to be how we create our corners. Double crochet into the next stitch, and then half double crochet into the next 3 stitches across. Then we're mimicking the other corner, put a double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, and put 2 more double crochet into that exact same stitch. Double crochet in the next stitch, and then half double crochet into the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to create another corner. Double crochet into the next stitch, and then in the stitches across the top of his mouth, in those top 3 stitches, we're going to put 3 single crochets. Then double crochet into the next stitch and create a corner in the stitch after that. 4 half double crochets and a double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then double crochet into the original stitch we started with. Slip stitch to the very first standing double crochet stitch, and now we're moving on to the next row. Chain 2 and create a corner in the corner space. That's 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets. Then we are double crocheting all the way across until we get to the next corner. Then we're just going to make another corner in the corner space, and you're going to keep doing this all the way around the square until you get back to the beginning. Slip stitch to your first double crochet and you are done.
Okay, so you guys wanted to learn how to make these cute little quick cat beanies that I like to wear. That's how it looks. Real simple. So I'm about to show y'all. Keep watching. Okay, so all you need is 2 granny squares. So I'm working on the granny square right now, and you're gonna do 6 rounds. So come back when you have 2 granny squares of 6 rounds each. Okay, real quick sizing. I am using a 5.75 millimeter hook. My head circumference is a 22, so for my size chart, that would be a medium. So when you do the squares, that measures out to 9 inches per square. So the squares do stretch 2 more inches once it's on your head. So I'm going to put a size chart here so you know how many rounds to do. I'm doing 6 for a small. You would do 5 rounds. For a medium, like I said, 6 rounds. And then for a large, you're going to do 7 rounds. So I do have my 2 squares done. So now we're just going to put them together. And I like to have my stitching showing. I know some people, when they do it like inside out. And then they turn it right side out. But for me, I don't. So I'm just going to place my squares together, right sides out. And then I'm just going to single crochet around 3 sides and leave 1 side opening for the opening. Okay? When you get to the corners, put 2 single crochets in the corner space. So yeah, just keep going all the way around until you get to this corner right here, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, I went all the way around. So now I'm gonna open it, like open the hat, and then continue going around the opening with single crochets, and then I'm done. Okay. Okay, so once you make it to the end, you're just gonna slip stitch into that first single crochet, and then I chain one, and then I cut. All right, and then I just like to weave in this little tail piece, and then if I could do it. Alright, and I just cut the rest, and I'm done. And this is what it looks like, y'all. So cute. Let's put it on. Let's see. Oh, got caught. Period. It's so cute. Ooh, I like this one. And that's it, y'all. Super easy.
Today, I'm going to show you how to make a rectangle granny square. I made these pants recently with this pattern. So yeah, I just want to show you how to level up in your creativity. We're going to start by chaining 21. You can also chain 24 or 18. Just make sure it's in multiples of 3, depending on how big or small you want your project. Once our chain is complete, we're going to yarn over and we're going to work into the third chain from the hook. We're going to start by forming our first corner. So with this, you're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the same stitch. Next, we're going to chain 1 and work 3 double crochets into the third stitch. Keep doing this. It's going to be chain 1, skip 2 stitches, and work 3 double crochets in the third stitch until you reach the end of your chain. At the last stitch, we'll create our second set of corners. Into that stitch, work 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. This gives us 3 clusters separated by 2 chain spaces. Now we're going to chain 1 and work 3 double crochets into the same spaces where you've already made clusters, moving back along the other side of the chain. As you see, we are now back at the first corner. To complete it, crochet 3 double crochets right into the same area that we already did the 2 previous clusters. And then we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch to the top of the first stitch that we made. And now to change colors, you're going to turn your work and attach the new yarn and continue the same pattern. We're going to chain 3 to start. This counts as your first double crochet. Then make 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and work another cluster, 3 3 double crochets into the same stitch. And we're just going to work along and repeat the pattern until we get to the end of the first corner. When you reach the end after your last corner cluster, chain 1 and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 stitch.
I'm going to show you how to create this bag once you have 13 granny squares made. So first thing you'll do is with your granny squares, you'll flip them wrong side up. The wrong side has the end hanging out of the magic circle. If you've already weaved it in, you can tell the right side from wrong side. The right side, you can see the stitches kind of lean towards you, and on the wrong side, they face straight up. So then you'll just arrange your 13 squares in this formation. You can pause here. You want them wrong side facing up. We're going to sew them all together. This is the direction that I take personally. You can watch this again to see kind of the flow that I do with my sewing. But honestly, you can do it any direction that you would like, as long as you get all of the squares kind of sewed together this way. So you just want to make sure every square that's touching another square is sewed on that side. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can sew one square at a time. You can do, try to zigzag all around like I do to have the least amount of weaved in ends. But any way you want to do it, just make sure all the squares are connected in this way. And then I'll show you how I connect them. I use a back loop mattress stitch. I do have another video pinned on my profile that goes more in depth on that, but I'll show you quickly how it's done here as well. It's quite simple, and it's like an invisible stitch, so it kind of hides the yarn within the granny squares as well. So you'll just push the squares together on the area that you're connecting, right sides touching each other, wrong sides facing out. And what I'll do, I'll just go into the back loop of one stitch, skip over the front loop, skip over the front loop of the next one, and then I'll go into the back loop of the stitch across from it. And I'll just do that back and forth. So you can see the front loops are touching each other and the back loops are furthest away. So into the back loop here, over the front loops, into the back loop. And I'll just repeat that the whole length of the square, going back and forth. And when you get to the end of the square, you'll just keep going up the next side that you're doing the same way. So I'll go ahead and pull all my yarn through, give it a little stretch, and that's the back side. And see, when you flip it over, the front side will end up looking like this, where each square will have its kind of own defined line made with the front loops there. So yeah, you'll just connect all of them that way. Just go through all of your squares and connect them in the shape that we had discussed. So once you have them all connected, now comes the best part where you get to weave in all your ends. If you've already done that, feel free to skip this part. But I'll show you how to weave in an end real quickly too, if you don't know that. So you'll just attach your yarn to your needle and thread it back through kind of some of the yarn. And you'll just pull tight. Make sure your centers are pulled tight as well. Skip a couple stitches, go back, thread it through some other stitches. And you want to do this all on the back end. You don't want to go all the way through, because then it'll show on the front side. So just in those back loops, pull it all the way through once you have it nice and tight, and then go ahead and cut it. And if you weaved in your ends kind of behind your work as you made your square, you can just cut some of these. I don't really feel the need to weave them back through if I weave them in as I went. So you can just pull them and cut them, but totally up to you. That's how you weave in your ends. So once we have that all complete, we have this beautiful connected shape here with our 13 granny squares. So you can see this is the wrong side. And then I'll show you the right side. You can tell it's the right side because we have these lines, these valleys that we made with our stitch. So actually what we want to do is we want to have this right side facing up like this, and the larger section on top. And then we're going to go ahead and flip it like this and fold the sides in. And that is how we make our purse. So we just need to do a little bit more sewing the same exact way with that back loops mattress stitch. We're going to go up here, and then up here, just to connect those sides together. So again, you'll go on this side, up here, up here, up here. And you don't want to do anything to these top points, those top sides of the squares. Don't touch them, leave them alone, just sew up the sides. So now that we're all sewn up, we'll go ahead and flip our bag inside out, or outside in, just so the right side's facing out. That's how you want it. And everything's sewn together. And now we're going to do the straps. There's a million different ways to do the straps. You can do an I-cord, you can do one strap, two straps,
you can create your straps and then sew them on. I'm going to show you how I do mine personally. But yeah, you can really look up any method, but I'll show you how I personally do them. So I'll go ahead and make a slip knot and place it on my hook here. And then I'm just going to go in at the corner of the bag and work into that first stitch right after the corner and just do a single crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet in each stitch up to the top point of the bag here. So I'll just go in each stitch there. And then once I've reached the top, depending on how large your kind of corners are, I'm going to put in 3 single crochets here just to kind of fill that gap. But you can do as many as you need for your corner. Once I filled that corner up and it kind of seems like the way I want it, I'm going to start chaining just straight up, and you're going to chain as large as you want your personal handles or straps for your bag. I'm going to chain 100 personally, and this is what 100 channels look like. We're going to widen this a lot, but this is the length I'm going for. So once you have it as long as you want the straps, I'll just go ahead and connect it back down to the other point. Make sure it's straight and not curved or anything, and I'll just take that and go back in and do a single crochet right into the corner again. And then I'll do 2 more single crochets in that corner to match the other one where I did 3. And I will go back down this side with my single crochets again. And you'll just keep working around the purse that way. When you get to the other point, we will chain up again, and we'll chain the same amount that we did over here. So our strap is attached. It looks great. The next round we go around, we'll widen it. But yeah, I'm just gonna go, I'll pull it out here. I'll go down here, come back up to this point, and then I will start chaining off again, the same amount as this chain, right from there. And then I'll go ahead and I will connect to the other point the same way I did this one, and then come back down that side and come back up, and I'll go and do rounds like that. So I'll just go up, go over the chain again, come back down, and I'll probably do 3 rounds around the top to get the chain the width that I want on this side. And don't worry about the center area for right now, because we're going to do that next. If you want to, I do it, you don't have to. This area here, you don't have to worry about that in the middle. But yeah, go around and do about 3 rounds on the outside, just following that way. So I've come back, it's on my second round, and I've come back to the chain. You can work into the chain any way you normally would, like that if you want, through the top loop. It's totally up to you. I personally go in the back bumps of the chain. It's a lot more difficult to work into and kind of tedious, but I just think it makes it much nicer looking in the end. It gives a more like uniform look for the stitch, and it gives like a stitch on the bottom instead of like that back loop being on the bottom. But yeah, I just worked into the back loops the first time. It's quite tedious. It's totally up to you. I personally do it. I think it's worth it. But yeah, so I'll just work into the back loops of the chain and just continue my rounds that way. So once we have that finished, you can see our border. I've done 3 rounds of single crochet, and it gives a nice border to the bag, and then our straps look great. You could totally stop here or make that wider. I personally go in the center and then do 2 rounds in the center as well. And TikTok will not let me record anymore on this video for some reason, so do the 2 rounds in the middle, and then you'll be completed and the bag is done, and it'll look really great.